Thank you very much, Victor. Hal, you know, it's been a long time since I've talked to Deuce McAllister. I miss you, my friend, but it's been even longer since the Saints have won here in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Welcome back. Did this team need this win or what?
This team needed this win. This team grew up. We've saw flashes the last three games, and it was finally a game that they put it together. There was still moments now. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's still a lot of moments where you kind of just scratch your head and you're wondering, exactly what are they doing, what's the overall goal. But I think to be able to come away with a W, that's the most important thing. And they needed the confidence.
Speaking of the confidence, you enter 0-3 for the New Orleans Saints, but they've lost 3 games that were somewhat close. To win a close game like this, how can that help a football team?
Well, it helps just to win. It helps to be able to close it out. As you mentioned, the first 3 games, they were games that they were in. They were games that they should have won, and they were finally able to deliver and close it out. We don't want to get in a situation where every game they're playing, this is what it's coming down to. But the first 4 games, that's what it was. When I started, as far as the season, you look at it in quarters. The first quarter, obviously, you're 1-3, not what you wanted. I think if they had a split, went 2-2 with so many injuries, I think that they would have been very, very pleased. But now they have to put a game together, as far as a couple games together. So it'll be a big task to enjoy this, learn from it, clean up those mistakes, and go out to be able to go on the road and get a W.
Crazy night for kicker Zach Hocker. Nails one for over 50 yards, steps in for Thomas Morstead, has a nice punt, and then misses what could have been a game-winning kick, but the Saints survive, and Drew Brees leads his 34th career game-winning drive. Just talk about his effort tonight. Many didn't know if he would play midweek, and he made some nice throws, had some zip on the ball at times too for coming off this injury.
Yeah, but knowing Drew, he'll talk about the ones that he missed. He'll talk about the ones that either got tipped or it was just a little bit off. I mean, his focus was there. He was sharp mentally. There was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure that they were doing some different things. But I think overall, he was able to go out and execute and have a good mindset, be able to place the ball and be able to operate and get guys in good places. As far as being on the same page with Cooks and being on the same page with Snead, that's all a work in progress. But as you see, they were able to make plays. So now what you'll see special plays being made. The last play from Spiller, that was a play where it's normally one at a tee out, he's out of the backfield. I think on that play, he was probably lined up in a bunch formation, and it's still a go route, and it's a mismatch for any linebacker. So you'll start to see them do some different things like that because they need that offense to be explosive, and that was an explosive play for him.
And that lacked for much of the night. But let's talk about Spiller. I mean, Sean Payton wanted to get him more into the game against Carolina. The game didn't really dictate him doing so, but they got him in just in time late. But what can he add to this offense? He can do a lot out there.
Speed. I mean, he's a mismatch problem, and he's speed, and he's a guy that can take it to the house, obviously, when he touches the ball. But, I mean, you have to figure out whether you want to play zone or man against him. That's what teams have to declare. And as he gets going, and feels more comfortable in his offense, I think you'll start to see some 2-back sets with him and Mark in the game, and you may even see some of the 3-back set with him and Kyrie and Mark in the game, once it gets fun and they're in a rhythm. But, with him, he's a mismatch, so teams have to declare, hey, look, we're going to play zone against him, or we're going to match up a safety, because obviously he can beat up a linebacker fairly easy.
I think the good thing about the offense tonight, you saw the kind of vintage Drew Brees drive we hadn't seen in a while. When he threw the touchdown pass to Josh Hill in the first quarter, 6 different Saints caught a ball on that drive, and that's something we really haven't seen this year.
You hadn't seen it, as far as them to be able to move it in that manner, but the one thing that I like on that last drive, you had Snead to step up and make a catch. You had Coleman to step up and make a catch. So you had some of the younger guys that were making plays or just on the verge of making plays. They finally were able to cash in, and I think, as this offense developed, that trust factor will become even greater, and now you'll start to see them make double moves as far as on some of the routes, and, it's exciting. I mean, we needed a win in the worst way, and, as far as jubilation for the fans, we all exhaled, and, you're excited because hopefully this is the role that we've been waiting on.
Always got to ask you about the running game. Mark Ingram had his moments. Kyrie Robinson had his moments. Of course, C.J. Spiller saved his best for last. But the offensive line struggled at times, especially the right side of the line. Is that a concern for you moving forward?
I think it's a concern just because you have so many guys banged up. Obviously with Jari still being out and the young guards being in there, they played well at times. There's some blocks and some situations that they didn't pick up. You look at it, your left tackle is out for a little while. He was able to come in and play the last drive and overtime. But, I think consistency and those guys being on the same page, that's the biggest concern. And obviously the health of the offensive line, that's where you have to be concerned, because at some point you're going to have to dominate and be able to win a game running the ball. And, right now it's just not consistently there.
Last question I have, we've kind of covered everything on the offensive side of the ball, but a quarter of the way through the season, Carolina's undefeated, Falcons are undefeated, but still 12 games left. What do you see in the Saints' future? I mean, still a lot of football to be played.
This next quarter, you need to go 3-1. You know, you would love a 4-0, but I think that you realistically can go with 3-1, and at least put yourself at that halfway mark, and that's really what you can control. The Atlanta, when you play them, you can control that. But until you play those guys, then you can't really worry about what they're doing. Because they're hot right now. Julio is playing unbelievable, and obviously you played Carolina. You know what you're going to get in that aspect. So this next quarter, if you can go 3-1, then I think you're putting yourself at least in a position to be able to get in that race towards the end.
Good stuff. It's nice to talk about a Saints victory, isn't it?
No doubt about it. I think, October the 9th?
October 26th of last year when they beat the Packers. It was the last time they won here at home. It's crazy, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, we needed a win.
All right. Listen, good stuff, Deuce McAllister. We're just getting started here outside the Saints locker room here in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Of course, Drew Brees will stop by with his usual one-on-one. Plus, we'll talk to a few players as well. That's the story for now. Back to you, Victor Howell and Scott Shanley.